benefit for humanity. World Bank and the IMF are listed on a
Libong
special
tonelada
agreement
ng
that was
gold
signed
bars
in
na ang halaga ngayon naabot sa 15 trillion pesos. Yan daw ang pag-aari ng timono ng pamilya Marcos. Ito yan sa pinagsama-samang utang ng Pilipinas.
Tonelagang ginto na pag-aari ng pamilya.
special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of
Presya sa likod ng sinasabing ill-gotten wealth nila.
It was, in fact, a dictatorship that, built up over 2 decades, fell down in a matter of days. Only hours before Ferdinand Marcos resigned his presidency in disgrace, he had himself sworn in for another term and joined his remaining followers and his wife Imelda in song. For Marcos, it was a swan song. At the same time, Cory Aquino was being inaugurated as president too. And today, as the sole leader of the Philippines, she began to look beyond the trauma of recent weeks.
Since we have been fortunate enough to have very few victims in this struggle, I hope to continue it that way. And certainly Mr. Marcos's leaving will contribute to a more relaxed atmosphere, and we can start healing wounds.
I knew that was pretty rich, and that is why I was telling him, why are you in politics with all this wealth that you have? Early on almost on day one, I knew he had more money than people thought, than I expected that he had.
Yes. And
Share your lawyer's feeling that this is a fishing expedition.
We've come to the fort area. It feels about 1 million miles away from the slums of this city, and we've come to meet a living legend, Imelda Marcos. For 20 years, Ferdinand Marcos was president of the Philippines. And alongside him was his formidable wife, Imelda. Part glamorous assistant, part mother of the nation, occasional government minister, and constant presidential companion. Their grip on the country was absolute. For 14 years, the nation lived under martial law, and thousands suffered human rights abuses. But in 1986, fed up Filipinos threw them out. They fled the country, leaving behind a strong whiff of corruption and a closet full of shoes. This feels a little bit like walking into the lion's den. The lion might be elderly and a little bit fragile, but she's still a lion. Come in. Thank you. Wow.
have a
What an extraordinary room. I feel rather underdressed. Imelda Marcos' living room is beyond plush, and you instantly appreciate why her name has become a byword for extravagance. It's made out of pearls. The whole room drips with lavish indulgence. Well, most of it. And of course, many Filipinos accuse her of accumulating this collection with their money. I was hoping to talk to Madame Imelda about her love of all things lovely and how she acquired them. You have just extraordinary treasures just in this room alone. Could you talk us through some of the paintings? Who's the
Madonna?
The Madonna is, who's that artist?
That is a Michelangelo Madonna.
This is a Michelangelo.
Michelangelo Madonna.
And this one?
That's a Pizarro.
Pizarro. And then over here, this is a Picasso.
Yeah. This is a Gauguin.
That's a Gauguin.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get so many extraordinary, lovely things?
Well, My husband was the lawyer of gold mines and also a gold trader. And he loved gold so much. He would always tell me, "Sweetheart," he said, "it's hard to earn money honestly and properly, but harder still to spend money properly. You be the one to spend." And then I said, "Why?" And then he said to me, "Because all you buy is beauty."
It sounds like a perfect relationship then. He earned the money.
Yes.
And you spent it.
Spent it, right. And I just did not leave it in gold. I bought paintings, beautiful jewelry, beautiful silver, anything beautiful.
But when President Marcos was acquiring all this money and giving it to you to spend, did you think it was his money, or did you look on it as money, the money of the Philippines, of the Philippines people?
Oh no, I knew it was his money because I saw this gold already in his home.
You were rich even before you became
He was rich.
leaders of the country.
He was rich. Oh, definitely.
And that has always been Imelda's line.
Thank you.
Her husband, Ferdinand Marcos, was a staggeringly successful investor in gold who made billions.
Manila Polo Club over there.
We didn't use the Filipino treasury as our own personal cash machine. And if you think we did, prove it. And so far, despite hundreds of court cases, no one really has. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your shoes.
They found no skeletons in my closet. They found beautiful shoes made in the Philippines.
Imelda is back, loud, proud, and beautifully shod. And she does appear to be genuinely popular with some Filipinos. The Philippines government has seized more than £400 million from accounts in Switzerland. But the puzzle of her remaining riches is locked up in bewildering legal cases and contested documents.
Let's look at this. This is only
So this is
one.
an envelope with Belgium on the front of it. The mysteries, what could this be? So this is some sort of treasury certificate. It's a slightly fuzzy...
No, don't anymore because this is dangerous already. No way. Look.
If only I had a photographic memory, I could tell you what it was.
Yeah,
But it's...
no.
Alright, we can't show you.
Yes, yeah.
But it shows deposits in the name of Ferdinand Marcos in a bank in Brussels, and it's for $987 billion. 908. Can we show the camera?
No, please. You know.
Such a huge sum surely can't be genuine. But with Imelda, who knows? Like armies of lawyers, I failed to unravel the mystery of Imelda's billions.
This is shallow waters.
But I did get a very interesting and very long presentation on her plans to end poverty and build a tunnel through the Philippines that would solve the world's trade problems.
He had already quite a stash of precious metals.
And did you really discover it because he used to cover the gold in lead, and
it was really the old gold bullion was covered with lead.
Right. And the walls of the house that you moved in were made out of this stuff.
Yes.
And
then I tore it down, not knowing what was in there, because I wanted the house to be spacious.
So one day, Imelda, let me get
and
this
then
straight.
one
You got
day
a hacksaw and you started hacking the walls down?
Got it all out. I had it all out, all the things, all these walls down, because it was so cramped up and then walled. And so I threw all these things outside. And when he came that day, he said, "Where is the wall?" He was so scared. I said, "I threw it out." And then he said, "Where?" So he ran there, and to my surprise, it was gold bullions that was covered with lead. That was the way it was before.
So all the rooms were partitioned by actual
Yes,
gold covered.
almost
It must have been hard
all.
to hack.
And
when you were picture hanging, you
yes.
never hit anything there?
No.
You didn't, no
no
suspicion that the walls were made of gold?
Well, because the
Because
walls
everybody
were
else
also
live
covered
stream,
with
Imelda.
books. with books. It was
Clever,
mostly
that's
the leather.
clever.
Yes, that's right.
So now you must have just gone through the house turning the walls down. You know, wait a
No,
minute.
no,
What's the furniture made out of? Is it legal to have gold bullion in your house? I mean, is that legal?
At that point, yes.
Yeah, it is. But they were only angry because there was no tax on it. I mean, because he didn't declare tax.
No, because it was not sold.
Oh, I see. You don't have to pay tax.
They were all in place.
If you just have it in your house.
Yes, you know,
that's where everybody gets so angry because his tax was not that high.
But that is what we used. That is what we used for our government. It was all in place worldwide because we just placed it there. Sorry.
There's something in your throat. Sorry. So I see. I didn't realize you had to. She's choking to death. She's choking. Can you slow down a bit? I'm talking too fast.
So I'm sitting here tonight with Karen Udis. Karen, you went to Yale Law School. You were the senior counsel for 21 years with the World Bank. Can you tell me why? What prompted you to become the whistleblower?
It was the right thing to do. I had to do it. That was my job. My job was to make sure that people played by the rules. It was a bank, and you don't play around when you're working at a bank. You follow the rules.
So what happened at the World Bank? When you became the whistleblower, you jeopardized everything that you worked for. Can you tell me what you saw? What happened that made you give up that 21 years that you've worked for?
I saw corruption. I saw that poor people weren't getting what was coming to them. They were starving. And the reason they were starving was that people were making sure that the money that was intended for the poor was lining somebody else's pockets. It started in the Philippines with the president of the Philippines who was impeached, and he had to give back the millions of dollars that he stole. And when I saw that happening, and when the Supreme Court Chief Justice in the Philippines saw that happening, we were making sure that that wasn't going to continue. But that wasn't what people who were in management at the World Bank wanted. What they wanted was to keep the money flowing in the wrong direction.
The bank and its sister organization, the International Monetary Fund, are very special organizations. They are sitting on top of the world's wealth, which was put into a secret account, and it has more gold than anybody knows about. And it is cloaked in secrecy. The bankers do not own that money. It's held in benefit for humanity. The World Bank and the IMF are listed on a special agreement that was signed in 1950 about that. Assets, it's gold. It's more gold than people know about. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. And the World Bank and the IMF have a special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of humanity.
So where's the gold? Some people believe that the gold in Fort Knox has disappeared. That's been in question for many years. Congressmen have attempted to get an audit of the gold in Fort Knox. So 1 million metric tons of gold is not something you can just hide. Where would you say that that gold is being stored?
400,000 metric tons are in the Central Bank of the Philippines. There's over 200,000 metric tons in Union Bank of Switzerland, and some of that gold is buried securely in the Philippines as well. Some of it is held in various banks, but the bulk of it is in the Philippines.
So the World Bank holds the note on that gold?
No. It is in a special trust account that was set up by Ferdinand Marcos, and the authorized signatory is a German banker lawyer by the name of Wolfgang Struck, who also lives in the Philippines.
So how do the people get the gold back? If it's their gold and it was taken by these bankers, how do we receive it?
That is the question. And they're just sitting there illegally and refusing to relinquish it. Part of the problem is that this gold is cloaked in secrecy. But in the last month, Wolfgang Struck has been publishing all of the documentation. So it's there for people to see. We have the originals, and people just have to make sure that the banks do what they're required to do, which is release the world's wealth.
Yung sabi nila that they offered to settle. It's not moronic to listen and to just also say, I accept your explanation because that is your explanation.
Preparation daw po yung Mr. President sa pagtakbo ni Bongbong ng Vice.
Wala na akong pakialam dyan. After 5 years, I would no longer be in the political scene. As a matter of fact, if I were to turn back the hands of time, I would have decided differently. Maybe. Yan ang ano ko. So, I am now scouting around. Yung PCGG kasi is focused on the wealth of Marcos. Ipagkita yung pamilya, and there's I have to yet to select the guy para walang duda. Baka sabihin na naman nag-house siya o there's a back channeling. But the Marcoses, I will not name the spokesman. Sabi nila na they'll open everything and probably return yung nakita lang. Sabi nila na malaki ang deficit mo sa maybe this year ang projected deficit spending would be big, sabi niya, baka makatulong. Pero hindi ito malaki. But we are ready to open and bring back, sabi niya, pati yung FU gold bars. Hindi ganun kalaki, it's not the Fort Knox, it's just FU, but sabi nila, isauli nila, para walang ano. And the only reason really was, sabi nila, that the father was protecting the economy. And of course, the eventual kung maalis siya. But he was thought of regaining the Malacanang, and that is why ganito ang lumabas. Parang naitago. I will accept the explanation. Whether or not it is true, wala na eh. And they are ready to return. How much they would give me an accounting. Trying to look for a guy not identified with anybody to handle the negotiation kung gusto nila. I'm looking at the former Chief Justice. Sila na mag-usap. Then another CPA and maybe a representative of all that is accepted also by all. So that tatlong tao yan mag-usap sa kanila. And then they are ready. And I'm happy na we come with a clean breast. Make something that is really worthwhile for the Filipinos.
Mukhang ang pinag-uusapan doon ay yung one of the media here is asking me about the gold bars issue. Sino ba nang tanong? Let me just explain to you the issue of the gold bars. So ang tanong natin, may gold bars ba si dating Pangulong, ang yumang Pangulong Marcos? Ang sagot ko, yes. I'm privy to that. I'm aware that they bought a lot of gold bars. Ganito yan. I'll explain to you. During those years of the Marcos regime, Marcos, Macapagal, etc., hindi naman tayo ganun kayaman. Hirap tayo sa pera. Ngayon tayo naka-recover because I will say that we should give credit to the economic genius of the former President Gloria. Siya yung na-discuss ng BPO at saka ng OFW. Nag-harmonize siya ng gusto dyan. She travels to different countries asking them to accommodate Filipino workers. Doon biglang bumalon ang ating foreign currency earning. Tayo sa ating bansa, fiscal policy ito, hindi ka pwedeng maglabas ng pera kung wala kang reserve. Ang reserve natin ay nasa New York. and that is in gold bars. But that reserves can be US dollars. Ang knowledge ko, yung mga gold bars na nakuha ng ating mga mining company ay pinaltaan ng lumaong pangulo ng US dollars. Yun ang nangyari. But those gold bars were those that were produced by our mining company. The quantity is not ready to that. But definitely not in tons. Napakalaki naman ng tulad.
Where did we get the dollars to pay the gold?
Pero kung ano, sinong sasabi na madami yung dollar natin? Alam ko maraming hinto sa sementeryo. Yung
Isa na naman yung
itong ngipin eh. So,
ang nagsasabi ng si Mrs. Marcos, ako ang pinagsabihan niya. And I reiterate my position which I said last week. Sinabi niya sa akin, meron silang 7,000 tons. Ang sabi ko sa inyo, you confirm it with her. She's a member of Congress. But I cannot change that story because yun ang sinabi niya sa akin eh. Kaharap pa nga si Annie. Sabi ni Annie, Mayor, huwag ka makinig sa ito. You can inquire from Annie. But she told me that, and she even said she would help the city of Manila with the subway system if I wanted to. Papasukin lang yung pera because pinipigil ng mga gobyerno international. But yung figure, sa kanya galing yun. And then I watched her in a television program, prime time, where she presented all the certificates. Punong-puno yung kwarto, ganyan kakapal. Pero ako naniwala, sabi ko, totoo pala yung sinasabi niya. Dahil,
Sir, nasaan yung binto?
tanongin niya niyo sa kanya, hindi ko alam yun. Ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, sinabi niya yun, dahil sabi ni Congressman Suarez, ating minority leader, hindi nila alam. Ako alam ko, dahil narinig ko, Mrs. Marcos.
Kailan niya sinabi sa inyo?
Tagal na eh. And I was in no position to even inquire further because hindi ko naman trabaho yun. Kaya lang, nung napanood ko siya sa television, when she presented it, if I'm not mistaken, sa GMA, pinakita niya isang kwarto yung certificate of deposit of gold. Binasa ni ng host. Sabi niya, ito, genuine ito. Sabi niya, genuine. Bakit siya genuine? So, why don't you inquire from her para magkaroon ng development yung figure? Dahil wala naman denial eh. Wala ding admission.
Dati, totoo mga meron silang 7,000 stars ng ginto. Hindi man niya inaamin na ninakaw yan eh. Maaaring hindi nga ninakaw.
In fairness to her,
ano ang kaso nun?
in fairness to her, sinabi niya, hindi namin ninakaw yan. Yan talagang, yan ang hilig ng dating Pangulo. Mag-ipon ng gold bar. Binata pa yan, nag-iipon na ng gold bar yan. Nung nagpakasal kami, marami ng gold bars yan. Ano ba naman? 20 years kami in power. Marami na kami nabili. Marami na kami nabili. Eh, dumami yan, dumami. Nag-comment ako, sabi ko, yung gold bars yun, yung 7,000 tons, mas marami yan sa Fort Knox. Dahil Fort Knox, 4,800 tons lang. 4,800 tons ang kanilang total deposit. Tayo, 7,000 pala. Eh, sabi nga niya I can help the government pay for the foreign debt. Papasukin lang yung dito. Kaya she needs, according to her, government approval and support para yung gold bars ma-recover. At this point, I would really agree. Let's do everything we can to recover the gold bars. The quantity, mahala na sila magpakita ng prueba, biglang naging 8 kilos na lang yung 7,000. Mahala sila, pero at this point in time, we should pursue it. Because ito na pagkakataon eh.